Hey everyone, Ryan here, and welcome to Ask MandR Productions, episode 314. In this video, we're going to talk about how you can get money from LEGO because of their mistake with the UCS Captain Rex minifigure. We'll be talking about how much every LEGO Star Wars set ever sold for on my Whatnot streams earlier in the month of May. We'll talk about that new Grand Admiral Thrawn minifigure and much more. If you have a question or topic for next week's episode, leave it in the comments section below. Hit the like button, and let's get into it with our first question from Meislaber. He says, have you heard about LEGO giving everyone a $60 gift card for screwing up Captain Rex? And I have the email here for you. So a viewer of mine named Braden sent this in to me, and apparently he contacted LEGO customer support about the UCS Rex being said to be exclusive in the UCS vendor, and the customer service response is quite simple, and frankly it's what you would expect. They claim that they didn't really mean he was exclusive, that he was just new to the set. They go on to say that they'd like to offer a $60 gift card as an apology, and that's the important part here. Apparently they are handing out $60 gift cards if you bought a UCS vendor from LEGO, or I guess from Target or Walmart or whatever. Now, you probably still are going to need like the instructions code or something. You need something to prove that you actually own it, which unfortunately means, as I pointed out in my review, many people bought it on Bricklink, bought it on eBay for $100, $150. They spent a lot of money that they did not have to spend, and that's what I thought was a really bad part about this whole situation. And so I don't know if LEGO will actually reimburse you if you purchased it not actually with the set, but if you bought the set and you contact them, you should maybe get a gift card. I have not yet tried to get a gift card or anything from it. If time permits, I will get to it and I will get it done. I would be curious what the answer is. But moving on to our next question from Gavin, he says, Ryan, what are your thoughts on the new LEGO box battery disclaimers, such as Back to the Future, Time Machine, or Sorting Hat? How would you feel if some of your LEGO Star Wars sealed sets in the future came with a large disclaimer on the box like those? Don't know if LEGO Star Wars have ever had a set containing a battery. So LEGO Star Wars has certainly had batteries in sets before. Looking back to 2005 specifically, we had 4 different sets with light up lightsaber minifigures, and so those terrible warning labels all over those boxes would be hideous, and it already is hideous on these non-Star Wars ones that we can see the labels on. Apparently it's because of some US law or regulation now that's forcing them to put these giant labels on the boxes. It's got to be front and center, and these are just massive warning labels. Perhaps it'd be better if they could put it as like a piece of paper inside of the box, like when you open the box, you has the piece of paper, or maybe it's the first page of the instruction manual when you're building the thing. Next question from Puzzled Drome says, I am looking to buy the LEGO Artemis Space Launch set, but I don't know whether I should just enjoy the build or make a LEGO stop motion build out of it. Love the videos and keep up the amazing work. Well, thank you very much for the kind words, and I can give you some insight into this and give you my thoughts because I have tried this one time before. When I bought the 2008 Death Star in like 2014, I thought that I could make a killer YouTube video by taking a picture for every part that I added on to that Death Star. And I suppose the video is not bad. I did it in kind of the bare minimum, least creative way. There are some people that when they do a stop motion build, like have the minifigures actually build the set. Obviously this one doesn't have minifigures, but it's much more involved than what I did. But I gotta say, I certainly did not enjoy building the Death Star more by taking 3,803 pictures alongside putting together the 3,803 parts. It just made it overall a much slower and much more annoying process because you put the piece on, take the picture, put the piece on, take the picture, and you can only build it in this one spot. You may be someone that'll build a bag here, move over there. Usually I build in one spot too, but just if you do like to be a little bit nomadic with your building, you really can't be, unless you don't care about the pictures in the same spot or not, I guess, whatever. But unless you really, really want to do it, or you're going to make a ton of money doing it, I don't know why you would. KK Brick says, with LEGO fast approaching their 1,000 set mark for LEGO Star Wars, according to Brickset, it's currently 952 sets on 5-4-24. Do you think LEGO will recognize and do something special for their 1,000th set, or what set, if it could be anything in the Star Wars universe, would you want to see as the 1,000th set? I think a Death Star would be pretty cool as the 1,000th set. It's one of the most iconic things. Obviously, a Millennium Falcon would also fit, but like they're realistically not going to make another Millennium Falcon that soon, unless it was a re-release, refresh, update of that 2017 UCS Falcon, which I have been advocating for the last year or so. I think they should update it with the black art and give it a Return of the Jedi theming and get rid of the sequel figures, just something fresh for it. Realistically, though, I don't think they will actually celebrate or denote the 1,000th set. The only times we've really seen it that I know of are with Brickheads, where like the 100th and the 150th, but those are actually numbered one by one. When it comes to LEGO Star Wars, there's a little, question as to what is a set. Are the minifigure polybags sets? Are the foil bags and foil minifigures from Europe, sets, or is it only the boxes that are released? So I'm curious if they end up doing it, what would be counted, wouldn't be counted, but regardless, just is partially because of how murky that is. I think they just won't even bother. I also don't think it's something they need to do. It would be cool. Death Star or Refresh Falcon as with like a 1000th set would be cool to me. That would be kind of the two that I think would make sense. Fritz says, what set was the last set that truly blew you away? Like which set completely surprised you on how good it was when you weren't expecting it? I think both of the Droidekas. The Droidekas, like the Technic one from the early 2000s and the brand new one for adults 18 plus that's just for display, outside of like the minifig scale Droideka, that's the only flaw with either of those two sets to me. They are both so amazing in their own rights. The Technic Droideka is so playable, yet despite like needing to have so much functionality and be so perfect in that way, it is also such a good like model of a Droideka. It still looks exactly like a Droideka. There were no compromises made. And when it comes to the newer 18 plus one, I mean, it's also just such an incredible display piece. I think both those Droidekas blew me out of the water more so than I expected. I mean, I thought they would be good, of course. And I suppose you said when you weren't expecting it, but I didn't expect them to be as good as they were. And so, yeah, they are the most recent sets to just blow me away. They are fantastic sets outside of, again, the small Droideka figure thing. Every day we inch closer to 2025 and the 20th anniversary of Revenge of the Sith. And we've got another question about it from Daniel, who says, Ryan, knowing Lego, I feel like they will only include Palpatine, Anakin, and Mace Windu for the Palpatine's Arrest diorama if they make one. I'm afraid they will not include Kolar, Tin, and Fisto. What do you think? So it obviously could go both ways. If you look at a set like Palpatine's diorama from last year, there were only 3 figures, but I feel like there's a good omen out there with the Death Star trash compactor. That set had 6 minifigures. It's not impossible for them to include 6 minifigures in a diorama, clearly. Hopefully they just include the 6 figures that everyone has been asking for the last 5 years. I mean, the Palpatine's Arrest set, and now, of course, because of the diorama lineup, diorama demand has been building and building and building, and it needs to be delivered on, and next year's the year. I disagree with you. I think they will include all 6, but, you know, I wouldn't be surprised. Deathless says, is it a good buying strategy to only purchase LEGO Star Wars during May 4th sales and Black Friday? Or would some sets be sold out once getting to these periods of the year? Yeah, I mean, generally, you know, not buying on release day is the real best way to do it. Like, you can just cut release day out outside of the May the 4th period, and you're usually going to do better on average than just buying it on release day, because most sets are going to go 20% off. You could maybe find it on clearance. I would not hedge your bets every year and wait for Black Friday, because during Black Friday, things can sell out, retire a little bit earlier. You know, they retire December 31st, but, you know, they sell out before then. So you just never know when it's going to sell out. You know, I've said it before, but generally the good rule of thumb is if it's 20% off, that's where you want to be at the very least. Usually paying full price is just a bit foolish, unless, again, it's a May 4th period and you're getting double VIP points with the promos, you know, that you could go and sell if you want to sell and recoup a substantial amount of money. I think this year's promo droid carrier is going for like $60. So if you bought a $160 set and then you sold the droid carrier, that's assuming you don't want it. But if you want it, you also get a cool droid carrier. But if you didn't want it, you sell it, you bought a $160 set for effectively $100. It can be a really good way to operate. I generally wouldn't only confine myself to buying 2 days of the year. Like, if there's a better sale on another day, or you're like, yeah, 20% off is good enough for me, go for it. But yeah, you're not doing a bad thing by not buying on release day at the very least. Parker Lewis says, how was your experience selling every LEGO Star Wars set over the weekend? I should mention it's been 4 weeks since the last Ask MandR. It's the biggest hiatus I've had in like 5 years of this series, which is insane. Anyway, he says, would you ever do it again? And if you did, what would you do differently? It was a lot of work, to be very, very forward. If I ever did it again, I would not do it over the course of 3 days. First off, the 3 days, it's just all day, every day, live streaming, set, you know, interacting with chat, having a good time. But just why do it all so condensed if you don't have to? And I wouldn't have to. So the way I would do it if I had to do it again, or if I was doing it again, is it would just be split up over the course of about a month. I would do a couple streams a week, and then it doesn't like kill me. I'm not drained. I mean, the reason I've been uploading so much on the channel is I was just drained after that. Like, I was so tired. I got physically sick. I literally lost my voice for a few days because, mind you, I was talking all day, every day for like 3 straight days. And then after the weekend of selling everything, there was also 4.5 or so days of shipping. Like it took, and that's with 3 people on 3 of the days. And someone, Ethan, Brick Brothers 20, came in on Saturday. Shout out to Ethan. And he did most of the first stream shipments on Saturday so that we had something done, as we're streaming throughout the weekend. But it hardly made a dent in what ended up being still another 4.5 days of shipping with me and my brother and Jared. And it was just a lot of work. It was a lot of work. And so, yeah, the shipping really is where, like, if we split up the streams, it becomes so much more palatable. We got some bad reviews on Whatnot. We were a 5-star Whatnot page, and now we're a 4.9. Some people were like, shipping took 10 days. I'm like, we tried. It sucks. I'm sorry it took 10 days, but we did have like 1,200 orders or something to fulfill, plus website orders. We did all the Whatnot stuff, and we had website orders that had to go out to people that bought on the websites. I would maybe do it again. I mean, it was such a unique opportunity, and I frankly, I thought, it's a one-time opportunity. It would never happen again. But because I did it once, now there's other people that like also happen to have that many sets that are like, hey, I saw that. Are you interested? And I'm like, maybe. So, and I did a poll, I think, on the stream, and like 80% of people said they would want me to do it again. So, I guess I'm open to it. But moving on, the next question, following up from Pit Droid Gang, says, hey, Ryan, can you disclose the amount Dan's collection sold for on Whatnot? Because it was essentially public. Like, the whole time we were selling, you could just see how much stuff sold for and count it up if you really wanted to. So it's not like it's a big secret. Everything sold for, I want to say, about 215 or 220,000 all in. That includes Cloud City, which sold for $10,000. I also, the only things I bought from the stream were things that didn't sell. So we had these Comic-Con collector sets. I showed off that one earlier. I'm going to make a video on these in the near future because I really wanted to talk about them and show them off. But the $215 or $220,000 number does include like these things that I bought. These 5 here, I bought for $6,800. I also bought this from him. It's the 2011 Advent Calendar, but they released it early at San Diego Comic-Con with this special exclusive limited packaging. And to be clear, I didn't bid on anything during the auction. These were things that I purchased from him privately. This one actually sold for like $1,200 or something, and the payment didn't go through, and then it was sitting there for the week before I did like the stream where I sold everything else that payments didn't go through or got canceled. And I was like, all right, how much money you want for it? And so I ended up buying this from him privately. And like I said, I bought these privately. They didn't sell either. These ones were in the buy it now and no one bought them. And so I was like, all right, I want to buy them. I need them. John Sumner says, following on the question about outsourcing builds, you ever regret that you weren't the one to build a particular set, especially items like the Venator, which might hold more meaning? And are you ever tempted to demolish and rebuild yourself after a review is complete? I am never tempted to take something apart to put it back together. That I always have just completely stayed away from. Even when I was moving my stuff, I would have like friends or family suggest, why don't you just take it apart? I'm like, well, that's a massive waste of time to me. Like, it's already built. Like there's just other things I want to do with my time than build a Lego set that I already had built. So, typically not high on my list. Like, if I don't build it, I can be bummed about it, but I'm not like that interested in building it that I would take it apart. I'm just not wired that way. The space rocket over there is a really good example of one I just had here. I really, really wanted to build that one, but I got it like right before I was going to do my Lego Star Wars streams for the May 4th weekend. Another buddy of mine, Chris, ended up building it for me. So that was super helpful. Of course, I still haven't got my review out on it, but a set like this that I was able to actually purchase thanks to Steven from the Brick Show gave me a pretty good deal on it. I'll build this myself because I really, really want to build it. And I would be really bummed if I didn't get to build this because it's been kind of a holy grail white whale set of mine that I've wanted forever, and finally getting it into the collection has been super exciting to me. We'll be adding this one next to the Artemis on a shelf at some point, but there's some that I like. It's much easier when they're older sets, like to be like, oh yeah, I'll just build it myself. I'll just wait 3 months, versus like if it's brand new and I need to get a video done. I definitely have some that I regret not building or wish I could have built, but ultimately, it's water under the bridge to me. It's not something I get stuck on. Is the Pizza for You and Me says, do you think with Lego making rubber capes for some characters in Marvel sets, we will see rubber clone armor pieces instead of cloth? And I was actually worried about this, not necessarily for clone armor, because obviously they'd rather just print it than make anything. With Darth Vader, I was like, I don't think it's gonna look very good And so I was a little bit concerned that they were going to bring these rubber capes over to Star Wars, and I really hope they never do. I don't think they need rubber capes for Lego Star Wars. I think the cloth ones are the way to go. I think the majority of the community would think that too. But anyway, like I said, I was worried about that, and then they ended up revealing the August Star Destroyer, and Darth Vader still has a cloth cape. So they're not switching it over now, I guess. You never know in the future, but as far as we can tell for now, they'll be keeping the cloth, which is good. Bread But Average says, why haven't you done a review on the 2014 Star Destroyer? Obviously, if you don't have it, but it seems like a no-brainer set to review. So I think I bought this one from a friend of mine a couple years ago in anticipation for whenever LEGO would release their next Star Destroyer, so I could have this. I've never owned it, build it, compare it, review it, whatever. And so now that they are coming out with the new one, I do anticipate that I'll be reviewing this relatively soon, although I set these goals for myself where I'm like, hey, the new Sith Infiltrator is coming out, and I know it's coming out in May. I want to get all of the other Sith Infiltrators built and reviewed before that. And then I don't. Like the 2011 and 2015 one, I'm staring at them right now. They're on the ground. They're still there. Still haven't been built. Still haven't been reviewed. And part of that is just because it takes me so much longer to make a review now than it used to. And so I like set the goals with like the timetables of my like old workflow with like an iPhone in just one shot for everything. And now it's just not the same. Like the Rex Microfighter review, last time people didn't like it, but it took me a dang long time. A lot more work goes into it, which makes it a little bit more difficult. But yeah, review on this soon. Now, as soon as the other Star Destroyer got revealed, I went out and bought this one, because obviously we didn't know a Star Destroyer was coming out this year until very recently. This one I did used to own. I had it. I bought it back in 2006, right when it came out. I bought it for my birthday. So excited when I was able to buy this one. It's the first time I remember tax, by the way. 6% tax on this. I was like, I need $106 because they charge tax. And this thing is going to be amazing. This one versus the 2024 one. It's going to be quite an interesting comparison. We're going to see a lot of differences in philosophy and building techniques. Like just the size difference alone will be interesting, but figures as well over the years. But yeah, 2006 might still reign supreme. Who knows? Anyway, you can expect some Star Destroyer reviews soon. I'm glad you're excited for them because I'm excited to dig into those sets too. Bagel Brick says, with the new Thrawn coming out, how will it affect the value of the old Thrawn? And we see some version of this question a lot. But the reason I picked it today is because Thrawn did leak, and so we know exactly what it's going to look like, and that gives us an idea of like if it would affect the value, I suppose. Although what I really wanted to say with this is I don't think it's important, quite frankly. I don't think we need to, every time a new figure comes out, go, well, how will it affect the value of the old one? Because like, I don't know, you can collect for whatever you want, but like, I just collect because I like want the stuff, and like I'm not buying it with like, oh, but if the value is going to go down, then I'm going to sell it so that it doesn't go down. You know, again, collect how you want, do what you want. I'm not knocking you for it, but I do see these types of questions a lot, frankly, like every time a new figure is coming out. One, I don't think it's important. Two, it probably just won't affect it very much. Like the old Thrawn is still going to be expensive, and if you want a Thrawn, ideally you're going to want to buy the new Thrawn because it'll be cheaper. And so yeah, that's the way I view that. As to the actual Thrawn figure, it looks almost perfect. It was so close, except they only gave him two, we'll call them pens because that'll be easy. 2 pens, 1 on each side instead of 4 pens, 2 on each side. Why? We're never going to know. Craig Bush Jr. says, I love your videos and I really look forward to your reviews as they give me really good ideas about the set. My question is, why do you feel the need to rant a lot in your videos rather than just mention the negative aspects and focus on the positive ones? Again, I love your content. Have a great week. So I think this question is because of the recent review on Captain Rex's Y-Wing Microfighter, and I certainly wouldn't disagree with you. I definitely was ranting in that video. I had some very strong opinions and feelings on how LEGO went about things and kind of the order things went down with that Rex figure and just the people affected by it and all the money that they spent. But, you know, it takes a lot to explain that, I think. And even, you know, and so I certainly ranted in that video, right? The reason, especially with that, and I suppose it has happened more and more so, it's been building and building, right? Is like, I feel the need to explain why it's wrong. And then I have to like defend myself because the comments ended up being exactly what I thought they would be. Of course, there's going to be people that disagree with you. There were some people that were more than reasonable with the way they went about it. I went to pretty great lengths to like be pretty clear with like why I felt the way I did and who exactly it affected, and that it had nothing to do with scalpers. And yet all the comments are still about scalpers. It's like, all right, I mean, if that's what you feel, it's great, good for you, but like that's not what I'm talking about. And so like I tried to cover everything I could, and that's why I spent so much time on it. I wanted to really cover every possible angle of the topic. And I still don't think I did that. Like, I still feel like I could have had more there on a positive note, really. And that's that I don't even think LEGO did it on purpose necessarily, but it did benefit them. So like, they benefited hugely monetarily from it, but they didn't do it out of like ill will or like a bad thing to the community. Like the designer put the figure in the set because he wanted to give the figure to the most possible people, which ultimately is a very good thing, you know. But at the same time, there's like people that are affected negatively by that because of the way that LEGO elsewhere did things, not necessarily because the designer of the Microfighter did it that way. I certainly know that I'm not going to stop collecting anytime soon. And so when like bad things come along, I'm like, I really don't want it to be this way forever. You know, it's been really good for the last 15 years. Why is it so bad right now? You know, with certain aspects, it just depends on what it is, right? I assume the designers will watch the video, and whether or not they take the feedback and actually enact any change on it is completely out of my control. But the hope is that the feedback is at least seen. Part of it might honestly just be that I am not beholden to the LEGO Ambassador Network or the LEGO company in any way. Like, I don't owe it to anyone. I don't have anything that I need to like cover my butt for. I can just say exactly how I feel about exactly what I want with LEGO, and it's not like they can't take anything away from me, you know. And I think with other channels, LEGO can certainly take things away from them if they're involved in some way. And it's unfortunate to me that like LEGO doesn't want to support. I get it, I guess, but it's like, man, you know, wouldn't you want to support someone that's like free and like pushing your product, but not, you know, always 110% like this is the greatest thing since sliced bread? I don't know, this is getting ranty in and of itself, but I just like to talk about the topics, frankly. You know, I have a lot of insight on it. I feel like I don't know everything. I'm not inside the building at LEGO, certainly, but I've spent a lot of time on it. And so I also feel like when I'm getting into some of these topics that I'm just teaching people about them, I'm giving you my insight on it from all of the research that I've done over the years, all of the knowledge that I've accumulated over the years. Occasionally, you know, I get things wrong. I don't know everything. I don't know what I don't know, unfortunately, too, which is the hard part about it. So it's a very interesting question. I don't think I've got like the greatest, most well thought out answer you'll ever hear from me, but like at its core, it's just easier to talk more probably about things that are bad. I also in saying all of this, like, if you watch my reviews, many of you, all of you probably have, I talk plenty about the good stuff. Plenty. More. Like a lot. There's a lot of good stuff in a lot of the sets. I rate them very highly. I often recommend them, even at full price. I almost never complain about stickers or the price of sets. You know, I complain about the quality. I suppose that whole question can really be summed into one word: passion. And I got plenty of it. Go Celtics. Hopefully the next time you see an Ask MandR, I'll be in Boston. I want to go back to the finals. All right, bye. I'm so excited.